Hello teachers. It occurs to me that I will get sick this year at some point, not from COVID, God forbid, no. It occurs to me that even though I will be working from home because our school district is going to be doing online learning for the first semester, I am going to get sick at some point, or my son is going to get sick, and basically I just won't be able to attend to my job. I will have to call in sick even though I'm home. So I wanted to go over what I typically do when I have to call in sick last minute, how I use Canvas to pretty much help me create a last minute sub plan so that when my students come in, they are not just left fiddling their thumbs. They actually have something productive to do that has to do with my curriculum. Now, as I've stated in previous videos, I teach art and I also teach for the career tech department. So I teach graphic design classes. And one external tool that I integrate a lot with Canvas is Hoonuit. And Hoonuit is basically a website that has a lot of tutorials for different softwares. Now, I am not a fan of Hoonuit for the most part. I think it's a good last minute solution like I'm going to show you today. I don't encourage students or adults for that matter to rely solely on Hoonuit because I think it's limited. However, I'm going to show you how I use Hoonuit when I just need a last minute solution when I cannot come into work and I need my students to be on task. So here I am in my planning course. I'm going to go to my Practice Makes Perfect module and I'm just going to go in and add an assignment. And I'm just going to call this one sub work. Typically, I will give in whatever date I'm going to be sick. So let's say I'm going to be sick tomorrow, which is going to be August 4th. That's what I'll typically name the assignment, so the student who sees the assignment knows, okay, that's the day she wasn't there, that's the day the sub was there, that's when I need to get it done. All right, so right now, I am adding the empty shell of the assignment, and I have to go in and edit it. And it looks like I actually added a duplicate, so let me go ahead and delete that second one real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the empty shell. Now that I click on the empty shell, I'm going to click on edit so I can add the instructions for this particular assignment that my students are going to do when the sub is there. Ordinarily, when I'm creating an assignment, I will go into the rich content editor and add my instructions, add some kind of prompt, etc. For right now, I'm just actually going to scroll down and leave that aside, and I'm actually going to scroll down to where it says submission type. From the submission options, I'm going to scroll down to external tool and select external tool. Now, I could type it in, but instead, I'm going to click where it says find, and I'm going to look for the H for Hoonuit, spelled H-O-O-O. How many O's was that? H-O-O-N-U-I-T. As I was saying before, Hoonuit is a website that offers a lot of software tutorials. Now, if I'm gonna do something for my digital info tech class, they do Photoshop CC their first year. So when I'm going to search for all content, I am just going to type in Photoshop. And I should be getting tutorials from different versions of Photoshop. If you were not a CTE teacher and then maybe you want to use Hoonuit for something that's not necessarily what you teach, let's say, for example, your students have to create some kind of presentation on their favorite author and you want them to learn how to use Microsoft Sway or Microsoft PowerPoint. For that purpose, you could go and have them use Hoonuit to actually learn how to use those two programs so that you don't actually have to spend the time teaching something that's not necessarily crucial to your curriculum. They would learn how to use the software through this program, Hoonuit, and then they could be able to use those tools to actually do something relevant to your curriculum, like teaching about a certain author, teaching about a certain event in history. But anyway, for my Photoshop class, so I would start looking for different classes that fit my curriculum. Now, Photoshop CC 2018 Basics, I would go right here where it says plus content, and this is going to show me what Hoonuit has available as far as tutorials go for this particular program. When I selected plus content, it gives me an overview of what chapters it has for the Photoshop CC tutorial, and I can go and choose what chapters I want my students to do. So for example, I don't really want them to spend too much time on the overview and recent features chapter because that's something we've done in class quite a lot, or we should be doing in class quite a lot when the school year starts. So maybe I want to go in and start selecting actual chapters for tools or techniques that I don't necessarily have the time to go into with them. So maybe I want to scroll down and I want them to do chapter D. It doesn't have a number. Chapter D, top 5 tools. And I also want to make sure that they have a little assessment at the end for chapter D. So I'm going to make sure I click the check mark for the top 5 tools assessment. And just for kicks, maybe I want them to also to do this particular chapter on effects and filters. So chapter G, I'm going to make sure chapter G is selected as well as the assessment. And I'm going to deselect all the chapters that I don't necessarily want them to do. So I'm basically scrolling down and deselecting those chapters and assessments I have no interest in their doing for sub work, and I just want to make sure I leave the chapters and assessments that I am interested in their doing. So in this case, I believe I had selected chapters D and chapter G. So those are selected. I'm going to click submit. By the way, if I ever change my mind, which let's be honest tends to happen a lot, I'm a Libra, I can go ahead and edit the chapters that my students are going to be doing on Hoonuit. So if I decide, you know what, they have time to do chapter E, I can just go ahead and add it on. Alright, so all those chapters within the Hoonuit tutorial for Photoshop are already selected, so I'm going to click select. And then I want to give my assignment some kind of points. So because they're going to be taking an assessment for each chapter, they're going to be getting a certain point score for their responses to that assessment. So I think whatever they get should be worth around 25 points. You can make it as high or as low as you want it to be, and then you can decide how many times they can make up that assignment if they don't do so well. Now, I don't like it when my students just have like a one-shot deal with an assignment. I want to give them the chance to make up something that they're not proud of, something that they think they could do better after I give them feedback. So I'm going to give them 2 chances here from submission attempts. I'm going to select limited and give them 2 chances. And then I would put in a due date. Let's say this is going to be due at the end of the week, so August 7th. And I'm going to click save, and I'm going to show you momentarily what their assignment would look like. Alrighty, so the assignment went ahead and loaded, and it looks like I had forgotten to deselect certain chapters, but that is totally okay because as I said earlier, I can go in at any time and edit the chapters within this tutorial that my students can do. But let's say I went and I already watched all these videos within chapter C, which is called Image Basics, and I'm ready to go and do the assessment. When the student would click on the assessment, like this, the assessment will go ahead and load in a separate window, and they can go ahead and, based on whatever videos they were watching within this particular chapter, answer the questions. So a vector object is blah blah blah, and they would start going and basically answering the questions. Now, based on this score, Canvas is going to generate a final score that would go in and fill in their assignment submission. So that's also another reason why I go to Atomic Learning or Hoonuit. They kind of have the same name for when I need an easy, quick sub assignment because it grades itself. So that's really good, having to go back to school the day after and not having to worry about grading a bunch of stuff that I left the sub when I wasn't there. Now I'm just going to go ahead and exit out. There's only a few things that you do need to be aware of if you're going to use Hoonuit or Atomic Learning for a sub assignment. Number 1, if the student misses any, and I mean any of the videos within a particular chapter, Canvas is not going to generate a score. So let's say the student knows all about vector images, so they decide, I'm not going to watch a particular tutorial. It's not interesting to me. They will not get a score. It's not me. It's not Hoonuit. It's just the way that Canvas generates a score. It needs to kind of sense that the student watched every single video and did every single assessment that was associated with this particular assignment. It is very frustrating to students, so please let them know, maybe in the description box, maybe in some kind of announcement, hey, make sure you watch every single video so that you can get full points. Now, typically on this channel, I like to do tools that I actually believe in, that I use a lot, and which I think are really useful to me as a teacher. With Hoonuit, I'm not so crazy about it because there's just not a lot of selection. So for example, this Photoshop course is one of 2 for Photoshop CC 2018. Not a lot of selection. If I had the option to do so, I would use maybe LinkedIn Learning, which is another great website that offers a lot of software tutorials. But again, if you're just needing to create some kind of very quick and easy sub-assignment, Hoonuit is a good way to go when you just need it quick and need to get it over with so that you can go take care of whatever you need to do in your life. So let me know if you have any questions or any comments or suggestions on what you would do for a quick and easy sub-assignment, and I hope this has been useful to you. Bye.